For the first time since entering prison, Tory Lanez is speaking out. After months of silence, the rapper has broken his quiet in a rare interview, offering a glimpse into life behind bars and his current mindset. He avoided reliving the case, choosing instead to focus on reflection, accountability, and personal growth. The response online was immediate: praise from supporters, skepticism from critics, and debate everywhere in between. One thing is certain: when silence ends, conversation begins.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this edition of Viral. I'm your host, as always, Kendrick Dix here. Glad you can join us here on Viral. We talk about rapper Tory Lanez speaks out for the first time in prison for his first interview. We'll get to it in a minute, but first thing first, join in the conversation using the hashtag Viral here on Connect. And don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe is caring. Tell a friend, call a friend, hit that subscribe button so you won't miss a thing. Here on Viral, we talk about rapper Tory Lanez speaks out for the first time since prison after being convicted of his ordeal with incident with Megan Thee Stallion. If you recall, nearly 6 years ago, Tory Lanez was involved into a situation with Megan Thee Stallion, the rapper, and her friend at the time, Kelsey. We didn't know a thing was going on, but pieces and pieces started unravel. Let's get the latest on what's going on. Let's hear what Tory Lanez has to say.
Rapper Tory Lanez breaking his silence in his first ever broadcast interview from behind bars since being found guilty of shooting Grammy winner Megan Thee Stallion in the foot outside a party in 2020.
I've never been violent towards a woman. I would never hit a woman, let alone shoot a woman.
Lanez, whose real name is Daystar Peterson, spoke to NBC News from California Men's Colony, a prison where he's 3 years into a 10-year sentence after being found guilty on 3 felony counts, including assault with a semi-automatic firearm. The rapper's legal team filed an appeal, which was denied in November, but his team is continuing to fight, with plans to file multiple appeals next week, this time with the California Supreme Court, in one claiming newly discovered evidence that they weren't provided during Lanez's 2022 trial.
There's this connotation that, like, I share this hatred for her, but I don't. I'm genuinely past that. I'm at a place of healing in my life. I'm at a place of taking accountability for the things that I did wrong. And when I talk about my case, I don't want it to be taken as me coming at her, because it's not that. I'm just asking for somebody in the system to look at my case and look at the evidence and ask if this was fair.
As you see right here, Tory Lanez speaking now his first time on NBC News about his ordeal, that he's innocent. He wants to get out and live his life and be around his kid and stuff. I didn't know, a fun fact, Tory Lanez was married during this time, which is crazy. But Tory Lanez trying to reform himself and get out of prison for crimes he believes he didn't do. He said he's innocent. He didn't shoot Megan Thee Stallion's foot. So it was a lot of stuff unraveled right there. Well, let's get our viral insider, Mr. Bob Evans. Bob, can you take it away on what's going on with Tory Lanez?
For the first time since entering prison, Tory Lanez is speaking out. After months of silence, the rapper has broken his quiet in a rare interview, addressing life behind bars and the controversy that continues to surround his name. Lanez did not rehash the case in detail, but instead focused on his mindset, accountability, and how incarceration has changed his perspective. His words were measured, reflective, and clearly intentional. Almost immediately, the interview sparked intense reaction online. Supporters say it's growth, critics say it's too little, too late, and others believe the timing says just as much as the message itself. What's clear is this: when silence ends, conversation begins. And with this interview, Tory Lanez has placed himself back into the public discussion, whether the world was ready or not.
Thank you, Bob, for that informal insight on what you did. Bob Evans, really insightful here on Viral. He knows what's going on, and Bob Evans keeps a daily track and keeps a close eye on things to uncover the true stories of the truth. So we thank Bob Evans for that. All right, we're not going to waste no time. Let's see what you people had to say. A lot of people on social media had a lot to say about Tory Lanez speaking out since his first prison interview. Some people are kind of doubtful. Some are just saying free Tory, and some are just undecided. Let's hear what you people had to say on what people say.
Now, I thought I was done, but then I realized I'm still mad because you playing with us.
Been violent towards a woman. I would never hit a woman, let alone shoot a woman.
And who did it? You saying everything but who did it. We're tired of playing Blue's Clues, okay? And the reason you're not outwardly saying that it was Kelsey is because you know that you can't prove that because it's not true. And that's why him and his lawyers are trying to use technicalities to get him out of the prison. They're talking about the fragments in her foot being mishandled. Again, they're not saying that he didn't do it. He said that in that interview, but that's not the appeal argument. And then when he said this, I almost lost it because Audacity gotta be on sale.
There's this connotation that like I share this hatred for her, but I don't. I genuinely passed that. I'm at a place of healing in my life. I'm at a place of taking accountability for the things that I did wrong.
Of course you don't have no hatred towards her. You did it. You're the one that did it. Why would you hate her? And when did you take accountability? Because all we've seen this whole time is you copping pleas. Accountability for what? And when did it happen? Did I miss something? Did I miss a chapter, chat? Help me understand.
Everyone falls in love sometimes. I don't know about you, but it ain't a crime. If you let me love you, love you, love you, love you for a long time, baby. If you let me touch and if you let me love you till the morning,
Am I wrong for thinking every woman wanna fuck me? And if she don't, she probably get it what it must be. None of my bitches put no niggas above me. I done put them side to side, all my bitches by side. You don't have to fuck me, you don't have to fight.
Let me ask you about this Tory Lanez situation.
What outlet are you with?
We're News Nation.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, I'm Kristen. I work with Joe a lot. On Tory Lanez, have you seen this evidence firsthand that you've spoken about?
I actually saw a new affidavit, and there's going to be. So there, I was made aware of some ring footage, so video footage, and actually just talked to one of his attorneys, and so that will likely be released in the next, whenever they decide to release it, next couple days.
So does the attorney have that footage
Oh
right
yeah,
now?
they have actually a lot of evidence. I'm surprised that, a lot of people, some of it were like, oh, well, that's not new news, but some people were completely unaware too, specifically on the number, the DNA, specifically for the gun, 0.01%. That means that it's literally not him. They also didn't test people, but yeah, so that stuff will all be released, I think, in the coming days.
So, and have you spoken with Governor Newsom or anyone else
I
about
actually
this?
have a call into his office, and so we're working on scheduling a time. And there's a letter that should be going out to him later on today or tomorrow morning.
So I would assume since these are strictly state charges, this would have to be a state pardon, correct? President Trump can't be involved.
Correct. It's up to Governor Newsom, but I think that there's a lot of people that are looking at the evidence and saying, hey, this is clearly not correct, that this is an innocent man that's been imprisoned. And I think that that's where, on the federal side of things, when I talked to Tory's in jail, as you know, so I talked to him yesterday on the phone. And I think prison reform is going to be something that he's going to definitely tackle once he gets out. And it's pretty wild that this kind of case can happen. Also, too, he had a gag order placed on him during the trial, so he couldn't even, and that's just so insane. Like, you put gag orders on people so they can't defend themselves? That's nuts.
Finally, why is this so important to you?
My goodness, this guy's an innocently incarcerated man. Obviously, we're by no means perfect, but that type of situation cannot stand if you have a double standard of justice that exists. Also, too, when the evidence was brought forward and presented to me, I was pretty baffled that he was even charged after what I saw. And so specifically, you're talking about someone who's basically been smeared and dragged publicly, saying and alleging that he shot someone in the foot. By the way, did you know that the ballistics evidence says otherwise, and that there's no bullet fragments. They can't locate those alleged bullet fragments. I mean, how do you even have a conviction on that? It's really crazy. So,
Thanks, Congresswoman. Appreciate it.
What people say, like you people done. You people are divided and divisive, and you're trying to figure out what Tory Lanez is telling the truth or not. It's just a cautionary tale to say at least. Hopefully, Tory Lanez will get the justice that he's looking for, and hopefully that it'll be coming his way. I've been your host, Kendrick Dixon. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time for another edition of Vow.